There's a truth about money so brutal most people never face it until it's far too late. Poverty isn't just the absence of cash. It's the punishment for walking blind through a game that was never meant for your victory. You can work until your bones break, bleed through sleepless nights, pray for a miracle, and still lose. Because hard work alone doesn't change a rigged board. It was never designed to. The system isn't your ally. It's a machine built to feed on the unaware. Machiavelli saw it centuries ago. He who doesn't understand power becomes its prey. Today, power doesn't wear a crown or carry a sword. It hides behind contracts, currency, and silence. The rich don't shout. They pull strings. And everyone else dances. Most people spend their lives as pawns. Not because they want to, but because no one ever handed them the real rules of the game. They cling to the illusion of fairness, waiting for someone to save them. But no one's coming. Not the government, not the market, not luck. What separates the ones who rise from the ones who rot isn't strength. It's strategy. Cold, sharp, unforgiving. This is where the mask gets ripped off. This is where you stop being prey. Welcome to Machiavelli's Laws of Wealth. 12 brutal rules. No mercy. No fairy tales. This is Gaka mindset. If you can handle the darkness, keep listening, because once you hear these laws, you'll never look at money the same way again. Rule 1. Wealth begins in the mind, not the wallet. Wealth doesn't start with a paycheck. It begins inside your head, long before the first dollar ever lands in your hand. Two people can earn the exact same amount of money and live two entirely different lives. One quietly builds a fortress of strength. The other sinks slowly into the tide. The difference isn't fate, and it isn't talent. It's how they see the game. Most people treat money like air, something to inhale and exhale, something that slips away unnoticed. They spend it without thinking, chasing the next small comfort, unaware they're draining the very power they claim to want. The few who rise above don't see money as air. They see it as force, something to command, something to direct, something that answers to strategy, not emotion. Every dollar is a move on the board. Spend it without clarity, and it disappears like smoke. Deploy it with intention, and it doesn't just stay, it brings reinforcements. Wealth isn't the result of your hands working harder. It's the result of your mind seeing further. Poor vision eats opportunity. Sharp vision multiplies it. The rich aren't always smarter. They're simply playing a different game in their heads, while everyone else is swinging blindly. And until you shift the way you think, no amount of hard work will rewrite the outcome. Real wealth starts when money stops being something you react to and becomes something you direct. That's the first law. The mind is the architect. The wallet is just a reflection. Rule 2. Never beg for permission. This is the point where most people will tune out because they're still waiting for a door to open. Some people wait their entire lives for permission that never comes. They wait for a boss to see their worth, for the economy to turn in their favor, for a system that was never built for them to suddenly reward their patience. But history is clear. Those who wait, lose. The ones who rise don't ask if they're allowed. They move. Machiavelli would smirk at the idea of waiting for power. Power isn't handed out like a favor. It's taken by those bold enough to act before anyone else. Think about it. Two people work in the same office. One spends years waiting for a promotion, convinced that hard work alone will be recognized. The other quietly builds a freelance business at night, sharpens their skills, lands clients, and within 2 years, they don't need the promotion. They've outgrown the building. The door they were waiting to open, they built their own. Opportunity rarely knocks. More often, it stands behind a locked gate, testing who will walk away and who will climb. Every moment of hesitation is a moment someone else steps in and claims what could have been yours. A musician who never releases their song loses the stage to someone braver. A coder who waits for the perfect job watches someone else launch a startup. A student who delays their first project sees another's idea go viral. Power respects action. It bends to momentum. You can keep waiting for approval, or you can declare yourself ready and start building. The people who move first don't need permission. They set the rules. By the time everyone else wakes up, the game has already changed. Are you waiting for a door to open, or are you building your own? Rule 3. Master the art of sacrifice. In 2004, a young man named Chris Gardner found himself sleeping in a public restroom with his toddler son. By day, he wore a cheap suit to a high-stakes internship on Wall Street, unpaid and invisible. By night, he stood in line at shelters or locked himself in a train station bathroom just to make it through another 24 hours. No vacations, no safety net. Only a relentless belief that discomfort was the toll he had to pay to buy his future. Years later, Gardner became a multi-millionaire investor and the real-life inspiration behind the pursuit of happiness. This is what people misunderstand about sacrifice. It's not about loving pain. It's about refusing to trade tomorrow for a cheap thrill today. While most people escape into comfort, those who rise willingly bleed for their future. Every party skipped, every impulse denied, every hour invested when no one's watching. Those are bricks in an empire the world doesn't see yet. Comfort is a velvet cage. It makes you feel safe while it slowly weakens your will. Sacrifice is the blade that cuts through it. If you can't give up what's easy, you'll never claim what's extraordinary. Rule 4. Build leverage, not labor. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of 90% of people who stop at work harder. No empire is built by swinging the same sword forever. Hard work is noble, but it has limits. There are only so many hours in a day, and muscle alone can only take you so far. The ones who rise don't just work harder, they build leverage. That's the difference between fighting on the front line and commanding an entire army. Imagine two people with the same job. One spends their life chasing overtime, clocking in earlier, leaving later, hoping a bigger paycheck will buy them freedom. The other uses that same time to create a system, a small online business, a product, a network that keeps working while they sleep. Months later, one is exhausted and still stuck at the same level. The other has something that grows without needing them to be there. Leverage is quiet power. It shows up as systems that multiply your effort, technology that runs while you rest, assets that generate cash even when you're off the clock, or people who amplify your vision. A writer who publishes one book earns once. A writer who builds a digital library earns every day. A teacher who tutors one student trades time for cash. A teacher who builds a course earns even when they're not in the room. Leverage doesn't just make you efficient, it shifts your position on the board. Instead of being the one swinging the hammer, you become the one designing the machine. Power favors those who can multiply a single action into 1,000 returns. That's why those who build leverage don't just survive the game, they start to control it. Have you ever built something that makes money while you sleep? What was it? Rule 5. Control your narrative. Numbers may keep the books balanced, but stories move the world. People follow perception, not spreadsheets. Machiavelli understood that power isn't just about what you are. It's about what the world believes you are. Reputation doesn't whisper. It shapes doors, decisions, and destinies. If you walk through life projecting uncertainty, the world won't stop to look at what's behind you. But if you enter a room with presence, controlled, composed, deliberate, the room adjusts around you. Imagine two entrepreneurs with the same product. One looks nervous during their pitch, their voice shaking, their words uncertain. The other speaks with clarity, carries themselves with quiet confidence, and tells a story that makes their idea sound inevitable. The product is identical. The response isn't. Investors lean toward the one who looks like they belong in the winner's circle. That's not luck. That's narrative. Or take a job interview. A candidate might have a flawless resume, but if they present themselves with weak energy, the panel senses it. Another candidate with slightly less experience can win the role simply because they understand how to control the story in the room. Perception tilts the scales. Your reputation is a currency more powerful than cash. Money can open doors, but only reputation keeps them open. The way the world sees you determines the rooms you're invited into, the trust you're granted, and the alliances you build. Power bends toward those who master their story. Control it, or someone else will. And once the story isn't yours anymore, neither is the power. Rule 6. The game is rigged. Accept it. From here on, the game starts getting uncomfortable for anyone who still believes in perfect fairness. If you sit in a quiet room long enough, you can almost hear it. The game whispering. It doesn't scream. It doesn't announce itself. It rewards those who learn the rules before the crowd even realizes there are rules. While most people grow up believing in fairness, the powerful never bought that story. They studied tax codes while others complained about taxes. They learned the fine print while others scrolled headlines. They built quiet networks while others shouted into the void. The system doesn't bend to outrage. It bends to understanding. The smart investor doesn't wait for permission. They buy land before the highway's built. The strategic founder doesn't pray for protection. They structure their company before the storm. Power never belonged to those who yelled. It belonged to those who listened to the whispers beneath the noise. The game is rigged. Always has been. The only question is whether you curse it from the stands or learn how to play it from the inside. What's smarter? Trying to change the rules or learning how to play the game? Rule 7. Dependence is slavery. Depending on a single source of income isn't security. It's a slow, quiet gamble. One paycheck, one boss, one market. It works fine until the world tilts, and suddenly everything you trusted collapses in a single breath. That's not a safety net. That's a noose waiting to tighten. The world saw this play out in brutal clarity during the COVID-19 pandemic. When businesses shut down, entire industries froze overnight. Servers, retail workers, hairstylists, ride-share drivers, millions of Americans who had depended on one job, one paycheck, woke up to find that paycheck gone. It wasn't their fault. They were simply standing on a single beam when the floor gave way. Some had a second stream, a side business, online skills, investments, and they stayed afloat. But for those who had only one income, everything stopped at once. The same thing happened during shifts in U.S. trade policy. When tariffs under President Trump reshaped the cost of goods, many small manufacturers and import-dependent businesses were hit hard. A single change in trade policy could raise costs overnight. Companies that relied on one product line, one supplier, one fragile source of income were suddenly crushed. But those who had diversified, who had multiple lines of revenue, different suppliers, or alternative income, had options. A fortress with one wall falls at the first strike. A life built on one stream collapses with the first shock. But a network of income flows is like layers of defense. When one breaks, the others hold. True freedom isn't just how much you earn. It's how many lifelines you've built before the storm comes. Depending on one income isn't stability. It's permission for the world to decide your future for you. Diversification is how you take that power back. Rule 8. Stop performing wealth. If you're still here, You're not looking for feel-good advice. You're looking for weapons. Modern society has confused the sound of money with the image of it. We live in a world that worships spectacle. Flashy cars, designer labels, sprawling mansions, endless parties that exist more for the camera than the soul. People mistake noise for wealth, mistaking the performance for the power itself. But real wealth doesn't need to perform. It doesn't beg for applause. It moves quietly, builds steadily, and protects itself behind closed doors. Look at Mike Tyson. At his peak, he was one of the highest-paid athletes in the world. His fights filled arenas, his face was on every magazine cover, and his lifestyle matched the spectacle. He owned mansions, exotic cars, gold-plated everything, a living symbol of excess. But when the lights dimmed, the performance ended. In just a few years, more than $300 million had vanished. His empire was never an empire at all. It was a costume party funded by cash flow, not real assets. Now compare that to Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest men on the planet. He still lives in the same modest house in Omaha he bought in 1958. No gold-plated lifestyle, no obsession with appearances. While others were buying flash, he was buying businesses. While others were chasing applause, he was building power in silence. Buffett understands something Tyson didn't. Real wealth is what remains when the cameras are gone. Fake wealth is a costume party, loud, glittering, and gone by morning. Real wealth is built like a shadow empire, unseen, solid, untouchable. The loudest ones often have the least to protect. The quiet ones are too busy building to prove anything. When the performance ends, only the real remains. Would you rather look rich or be rich? Rule 9. Ruthless discipline builds empires. Discipline is not a drum roll. It's the steady heartbeat of a builder. Imagine a mason, alone in the fog, laying one cold brick at a time. No music, no applause, just hands and mortar. Every day, another layer. While the crowd runs toward shortcuts, the wall grows, slow, invisible, inevitable. That's what discipline feels like. It's repetition when no one's watching. It's showing up when everyone else has quit. It's saying no when the world hands you distraction on a silver platter. Apple didn't become Apple overnight. Steve Jobs wasn't building a gadget. He was laying a wall of details, day after day, until the world suddenly called it visionary. Dwayne Johnson didn't become the highest-paid actor because of one film. He built it with early mornings, broken bones, and 1,000 quiet decisions no camera ever saw. Discipline isn't loud, but when the fog lifts, the one with the wall stands tallest. The rest are still looking for a shortcut that never existed. Rule 10. Power protects wealth. From this point, the game isn't about making money anymore. It's about keeping it. And that's where most fall. Wealth without protection is a glittering target. It looks strong until the first arrow hits. Most people build fortune like a sandcastle, beautiful, impressive, and one wave away from nothing. The powerful build differently. They don't just stack assets. They build legal shields, corporate structures, trust networks, and influence circles. Their wealth doesn't sit naked on the table. It's wrapped in armor. Jeff Bezos is a perfect example. He didn't just build Amazon the company. He built Amazon the fortress. Through legal frameworks, diversified holdings, intellectual property, and political connections, he made it almost impossible for a single strike to destroy the empire. That's the difference between a pile of gold and a dynasty. One can be stolen. The other must be besieged. If you want your wealth to last, don't just build higher, build smarter. Fortify before the storm, not after. If a major crisis hit tomorrow, would your assets survive? Rule 11. Information is the ultimate leverage. Information is the sharpest weapon in the modern world. Money can buy access, but information decides who wins. The most powerful players don't move faster, they move earlier. They hear whispers before the headlines, track shifts before the crowd even senses change, and shape the battlefield while everyone else is still looking for a map. In every arena, finance, politics, technology, the one who holds the clearest signal controls the game. Information isn't decoration. It isn't a side advantage. It's the blueprint of power itself. Every major shift in history has favored those who saw it coming first. Markets crash, industries rise, narratives turn, and while most people react, a few already position themselves in silence. If you're the last to know, you're not just late. You're already losing. No modern example makes this clearer than Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. While most of the world was still figuring out how social media fit into daily life, Zuckerberg was building something far bigger, a system that captured and understood attention itself. By the time competitors understood the game, he had already locked in billions of users, bought Instagram before mobile dominance exploded, and secured WhatsApp before encrypted messaging became a global force. He didn't move fast, he moved early. The power of that information didn't stop at business. It shaped the course of US elections. The Cambridge Analytica scandal revealed how data from tens of millions of Americans was harvested through Facebook and used to target voters with laser precision during the 2016 presidential race. Campaigns weren't just buying ads, they were buying insights. While the public debated policy, those with the data were influencing how people thought, felt, and voted. This is what real leverage looks like. Not louder, not stronger. Earlier. Information tilts the board long before the crowd even sees it. Wealth can buy comfort, power can buy control, but information decides the outcome. Those who hold it shape the future. Those who don't are forced to live in the world others designed for them. Rule 12, control alliances, not just assets. If you've made it to the end, you're no longer just a listener. You're preparing to become a player. No empire stands alone. Even Caesar needed Rome. Even Jobs needed Apple's ecosystem. Strength built in isolation is strength waiting to be broken. True power is networked. The powerful don't just accumulate wealth, they orchestrate alliances. Lawyers become shields. Media becomes voice. Partners become extensions of reach. A single sword is sharp, but an army of aligned interests is unstoppable. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple, the company was on its knees, but he didn't rebuild it alone. He cut a deal with Microsoft, secured music industry partnerships, brought telecoms to the table, and built an army of developers. That ecosystem turned Apple from a company into a kingdom. Wealth on its own can be taken. Power without support can be isolated. But alliances create something harder to break: resilience. The real winners don't just stack assets, they build circles that hold when everything else shakes. Because in the end, it's not just what you've built that keeps you standing. It's who's willing to stand with you. Would you rather stand alone or lead a network? Money is a weapon. Power is your shield. Information is your map. Alliances are your army. Ignore these, and everything you've built can be taken the moment you blink. Follow them, and you don't just grow rich. You become untouchable. Machiavelli's final whisper isn't meant for everyone. Most will hear these words, nod vaguely, and scroll away. But a few, the ones who understand that power favors the prepared, will turn them into strategy. Don't just let these laws live in your head. Learn to wield them. Up next, how to apply Machiavelli's laws of wealth. A step-by-step breakdown to turn strategy into real power. Hit follow, turn on notifications, and be ready. This next video isn't for the curious. It's for those ready to build.